How do you know if you have healed and have become an empowered empath? I'm going to share 3 basic platforms that will help you decide whether you have reached that point of enlightenment and empowerment and that you are now free from future narcissistic abuse. My name is Vital Germain. I'm a life coach. I specialize in empath empowerment and exposing the narcissist. I've written multiple books on the topic. Pink is the color of empathy. And the talking points of today are in alignment with this book, The Empath Way, Understanding the Journey and the Purpose. So how do you know? First of all, we've got to begin and understand what healing means. Healing is not a linear trajectory and it is not a destination. Forget trying to arrive at, oh, I have now healed, because it is an ongoing journey. There are always scars that we have to overcome. We get reminded of pain points that brings us back a certain way. But ultimately, these 3 talking points are going to help you come to a place of feeling truly empowered and at peace. So maybe for me, the word being at peace is more powerful, more impactful, resonates more appropriately than being healed. So the first step is you've got to step out of victim mode. And this is quite a hard step. Of course, the third step is ultimately the most impactful, but we've got to get ourselves out of victim mode. And this is really hard. When we are in victim mode, it basically means our mindset is still in the place of placing blame. While we're going through the steps of recovery, there is anger, there are multiple stages of grief. But as long as you keep getting stuck in the cycle of placing blame on your abuser, the narcissist, and feeling a sense of, woe is me, why did this happen to me, how could they do this to me? And you get out of that victim mode and you somewhat take accountability, then you're stepping out of victim mode. That is a fundamental platform to overcome and the most significant step into guiding you to becoming an empowered empath. Then we have step number 2. As you start to understand who the narcissist is and you start to understand who you are and the dynamics that brings them together, and then now you start to tap into 1, your knowledge, your wisdom, your intuition and discernment, your ability to judge in the sense of I'm making an evaluation, I see the patterns, I understand the behavior, and here's my conclusion. I'm not going to necessarily judge in the terms of condemnation, but I'm going to make an informed evaluation, and as a result of this information, my conclusion is I need to walk away. And the more empowered you become as an empath, the quicker you get to that conclusion of this is not healthy. I can sense it, I can feel it. I've seen this pattern before, I've heard these words before, I've seen these traits before. Walk away, move away, save my soul. Discernment. All right, so you've got to start trusting, leveraging your discernment. And then the final step, and this is a major talking point in this book, the empath way. You've gone through the abuse, your heart's been ripped out, your soul has been torn to shreds, and you've survived. First of all, congratulations, you survived. People underestimate and undermine the damage that a narcissist can do to anybody, let alone an empath, an INFJ, an HSP. But the damage is severe, it's deep. In fact, the damage can be so profound, the physiology of the brain can change. The physiology of the brain can change due to narcissist abuse. Absolutely insane. People don't quite grasp that. Oftentimes you'll hear people say, well, just get over it. It's not that easy. If you've been through the journey, you know that it's not that easy. So what you now have to do is you take the pain, you take the experience, and you can't get to this place without going through steps 1 and 2. So you've taken this pain, and now you're a place where you've found peace. You've reconnected with your self-confidence, with your identity. Who are you? Because along the journey of narcissist abuse, we forget completely who we are. We detach from the essence of our character, of our core values, of our spirit. So we have to reconnect with that. And then you turn that pain into purpose. Meaning, I've been through the experience, I now have the knowledge and the wisdom. In some capacity, I'm now going to pay it forward and help others. Either just through showing up with my example as an empowered empath, showing people that I trust my intuition, you can share your stories. But once you get out of victim mode and you get into purpose, that is the ultimate form of empath empowerment. Pain into purpose.